Hello and good morning to all of you around the world. I want to welcome you back to another edition of This Morning with Soulivity, broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Wesley Johnson, and I'm joined today by some very, very special friends, Sheila Applegate and D'Angelo Thompson. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Listen,
You
everybody.
everything.
How has your week started? What are the things you guys been up to so far during this week?
I've
Sheila,
been
you wanna go
hosting the
first?
show.
Yeah, Sheila, you go.
No, I was just saying I've been co-hosting the show
I
and
know,
working, but it's been fun.
but we've been missing you, D. What you been up to?
Yeah.
Well, yesterday I did a press junket for Next in Fashion for Netflix.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
and we wrapped up New York Fashion Week, in February. So now we're preparing for September.
Mhm.
Yeah, and some activations around 50 years of hip hop in May. So working on a panel for that as well with Kent State. So a lot of fun.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Sheila, it seems like when D'Angelo comes on, it's like I'm like so starstruck. It's like all the stuff that he does is like so like amazing when it comes to that. Like, wow, okay. Just a
Yeah,
press
that's
for
great.
Netflix. That's all.
I just don't know how to sit still. That's what it is.
Oh, that's it. Okay, gotcha.
That's it.
And you love what you do, right? I think that makes
Exactly. That too. Yes.
yeah.
Well, speaking of loving what we do, this is what we're all about here, having real conversations that empower with each of you that are out there. But before we begin, we want to remind you that we want your questions, comments, and thoughts. This is an interactive conversation. Please post anything that's on your mind to our live chats on Facebook and YouTube, and we will definitely do some shouts out to you, especially if you tell us where you're listening from. Um, Guys, I found an amazing article in Psychology Today on dreaming, and I thought that that would be a fantastic topic for us to do today.
Mhm.
Um, there's a passage that goes, "Why humans dream remains one of behavioral science's great unanswered questions. Dreams have a purpose, but it may not be to send us messages about self improvement or the future, as many believe. Instead, many researchers now believe that dreaming mediates memory consolidation and mood regulation, a process a little like overnight therapy. But it's not a benefit all share equally. People who are sleep deprived also tend to be dream deprived, spending less time dreaming and perhaps not remembering dreams as well." Um, some of this I agree with, some I don't, but
Mhm.
that's a whole nother subject.
Mhm.
But first of all, do you remember your dreams, guys? D'Angelo, do you remember your dreams?
I do actually. I consciously tell myself you have to remember them because this is how you're going to analyze your day-to-day life,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I do remember them very vividly, which is good. A
Right.
lot of people don't, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
absolutely. Sheila, what about you?
I do remember usually at least some of them every
Mhm.
day. And it's interesting because it does often relate to my life. Like if I'm binge watching a show, I won't dream of the show, but my personal dream will be in that genre, that feel, that age. So it's kind of wild to watch that. And then it's interesting because I noticed lately, before we even picked this topic, that I'm waking up with a show in mind on the days that I'm co-hosting. So
Wow.
whatever the topic's going to be, I'm not remembering the dream that I last had, but when
Mhm.
my first thoughts, I'm in the middle of a conversation about it. So last night I was like, well, what is the dream going to be like if the show is on dreams, right? And the funniest thing is I remember my last dream pretty vividly last night, and it was kind of chaotic. It was in the past, people from my church when I was younger, and I was getting ready because I had to perform something. And then at the last minute, they needed something. And so I had to go back. And it was like I went into my own personal tent. Everyone had a tent, and it was a mess. There was all kinds of things in it. And
Mhm.
And then there were these people sitting it, and they're like, we think you should be done with this now. You don't need this anymore. And I thought, oh my gosh, like that is it. Like it was letting go of old dreams, old memories, and it fit in with today, but it also talked about the process of what dreams do. So I thought that was really wild.
You know, I'm like you guys. I do remember my dreams when they're specifically vivid, but there's a process that I know that I have to maintain to get there.
Mhm.
Like I've stopped drinking alcohol during the week, unless it's like we're out to dinner or something like that. But to kind of like allow my body and mind to get kind of really clean
Mhm.
and have a really clean slate so that when I go to sleep, it's just all about the dream. It's all about what's either on my mind that that spirit needs to tell me, or or maybe it's things about that I need to be paying attention to, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so um here's one myth that I want to share with you guys as we talk about this. And this is coming from therapeutic.com, an article called The World of Dreams, Common Myths and Facts. And one of the myths is dreams have a mind of their own. It's many of us think of dreams as a world created by our brain while we sleep. And we might tell someone about a dream we had as if it were a movie we just watched. But did you know that you can actually write your own dream sequence? And so I was like, wow, that's really cool. That it isn't that thinking about your dreams, it isn't just this, you know and again, this goes to what I was disagreeing with out of psychology today, where behavioral science is all about just more so about the nature part of our dream state. But I believe that there's more to it. Do you guys believe that there's more to it than just that,
Definitely.
Sheila?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's many different layers, I think it can be just releasing, and it can be precognitive. It can be working, even
Yeah.
maybe jumping timelines. I think it's a whole realm.
Yeah. Yeah. D, what about you, man?
Sheila, there you go. It is, I think, deeper than we think it is. I think it is tapping into other realms, other energies, not only our own, but
Mhm.
others as well, and other beings. So
Mhm.
I know for sure, if I have time, Brian, I'd love to share a really vivid dream I had many years ago
Mhm.
before COVID happened. It was a warning for me that something was coming, you
Go
know?
for it.
Mm.
Why don't you share it
Yeah.
now? Share it.
Yeah, it was like I'm in this like castle, this beautiful old, it could have been English, could have been anywhere in the world, like an ancient castle. And we're surrounded up by these different armies coming at each other. But I
Wow.
was in the middle of it, very calm. But I remember thinking
Mm.
in that dream that these armies were like viruses, you know,
Mm.
Oh.
attacking this vessel, this, which could be the human body, it could have been me, it could have been many things. And slowly after that dream, many things started to happen, not only in my personal life, but in the world at large. And I was like, okay, that dream was there to teach me something. And so when COVID happened and other things happened in the world, I was very calm about it because I think I
Mhm.
understood it.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's
You know?
interesting.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I, I really believe that dreaming as a whole is something that we have not spent enough time uh, doing study on. I mean, I know the Institute for Noetic Science has
Mm.
great study is doing some great studies on lucid dreaming as it revolves around supporting people in having a healthier life, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I think that this idea that your dreaming is just something that is just out there, and that you have number
Mm.
one, that is just like they say, that it just has a mind of its own, and it's just your brain kind of like doing some things. I don't believe that. I think that everything has a specific purpose
Mhm.
that can be multi
Mhm.
multi dimensional. And I don't know about you guys, but I remember some dreams that I've had that have been very critical in the direction of my life,
Mm,
and where after I made decisions um based upon that new kind of perception or idea, like, of how my life was supposed to be. And
mhm.
so, um Sheila, I know that this is something that you love too. What are your thoughts about, like, dreaming as just, a process?
As opposed to all the different things
Yeah,
that we can be having in
exactly.
there. I mean, I think
Exactly.
it's naive and ignorant, really. Like, I don't
Well,
know.
tell us
Like,
how you really feel, Sheila.
it's like this default that if we can't figure it out, we just assume it's nothing. Like, how
Right.
can you can dream? Like, you end up dreaming like 6 years of your life or
Right,
something, right?
right,
So obviously, this whole thing, they don't even know why we need to sleep at this point. We know what sleep
right.
deprivation does, but we don't even know why. So there's this whole realm to explore. And to me, it's getting really fluid because I do channel, I do take people through conscious meditation, which is a combination of hypnotherapy and guided imagery, and I do reading. So it's just woven between wake and sleep. So it feels very natural to me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
I just had a thought about this, that from a different angle.
mhm,
I think in Western civilizations, specifically the American culture, rest and sleep and that kind of thing aren't really put forth as part of your entire wellness
Right.
regimen.
very
That,
true.
where, you're sleeping too much, you're deemed as lazy, and all that kind of thing. And then you pile onto that, well, dreaming, right? And, oh, well, you're not, you're just a daydreamer, all this kind of stuff, that again, it promotes this idea of you being lazy.
Hmm.
um so while we, keep talking about this, and maybe these extra dimensions, because I think that what I've learned, and as I've gotten older, is resting your body on a consistent basis in different ways. May it be, you're having your daily sleep regimen where you're getting enough rest, as well as other kinds of things like taking vacations and all that, lend to a healthier, proactive sense of wellness. And that dreaming is a big part of that as well.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So why don't we take a quick break? We'll talk more about this. In fact, what we're going to talk about next is, you know, channeling or talking with our loved ones while we are in our dream state. So, um, we'll be back in about 2 minutes, okay?
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Are you ready to take that first step towards true, unwavering inner happiness? Are you like thousands of people who have everything they need, not want, but need, and still can't seem to find happiness and fulfillment in their lives? If so, the Steps to Happiness show is for you. On my show, you will learn about the principles and practices that lead to true inner happiness. Because guess what? isn't found in our external environment, but within ourselves instead. Together with my guests, we will explore the latest physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being practices, and together we'll advise you on the actionable steps you can take towards a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. So I invite you to join me each week on Soulivity TV on the Steps to Happiness show with me, Teresa Greco.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity. We're talking about dreams, like dream on, dream on. We kind of ended the last segment. I kind of want to pull this thread a little bit before we change into a different area where we're talking about dreaming and wellness. And D'Angelo, you had a really important point that you wanted to make around this.
I think often you're right that we don't have like enough sleep, and we don't think it's important until sick. And
Right.
main thing when a person becomes ill, the first thing a doctor says to you, whether it's a holistic doctor or a Western doctor, they will say, get rest your
Right.
body, sleep. You know, when
Right.
if you had COVID early on in 2020, the main thing your body did was what? Sleep.
Right.
Fatigue. So it was a way of your body just rebuilding itself, your immune system, and if you don't get enough sleep, it does affect your immune system. Someone who works 14 to 16 hours a day in film and TV, trust me, sleep is very crucial for us and very much needed. And oftentimes there's lack of, So
Right.
sleep is definitely the essence of good health. I think spiritual health as well as your mental and physical health.
And Sheila, I know you and I were kind of talking about that dreaming. I believe that without any additional help, if you're just dreaming clean with a clean body and that kind of thing, that the consistency of your dreaming is an indicator of wellness. And you were saying that this was on many levels. What did you mean by that?
Well, I mean, from the physical level, if you're dreaming, you're in REM sleep, rapid eye movement, and that's where our body regenerates the most. So if and you could be getting to that state and not remembering it, but if you're not getting to it, that's when you're getting sleep deprivation. And so on the physical levels, it affects you. Emotionally, it is a place where we both release and grow. So, sometimes I even go to sleep as part of my work. Like, I know that, like, if I'm writing, I'll wake up and since I was a child, I would wake up with essays just completely written in my head in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. Now let's make this turn real quickly, because there's another part of dreaming that I think now everybody, we're going to get a little woo woo here. So just, if it, just hang on. Which has actually been around for a long time. This is channeling and in the dream state. And for those of you who may not know what channeling is, the simple explanation for it is when you allow yourself as a being to communicate with those on the other side of the veil. There's belief systems around it being just our loved ones. There's belief system about it being a whole host of different people, including angels and guides and that kind of thing, which can also be our loved ones, by the way. But I think that it's an important piece that we need to talk about, because I think a lot of people, this happens, right? Has this happened to you guys where you've had a dream and you're actually talking to someone on the other side of the veil? D'Angelo?
Yes. Yeah. A dear friend died many years ago. He was on a business trip and he didn't come to a meeting very early in the banking world. And his assistant was like, okay, we have to open his door. Something's wrong. She just knew it, right? So he passed away. We had no answers about it. Long story short, a day or two later, had the most vivid dream. And we were having a conversation. And things that I had a lot of questions about were answered. It was a very forgiving dream. It was a very loving dream. And it was a way to let go and set that soul free. So yes, I do think we have visitations, or we can channel many, many energies.
Wow. What about you, Sheila? Have you had that experience? I'm sure the answer is yes. But...
You know what? I have, but I want to say I don't consider myself that good at dreaming with loved ones. I'm great at channeling and communicating when I'm awake, but the grief overtakes me. So I have one of my dear friends died when we were younger, and for years I would dream with her for a while, but then remember that she was dead, and I would wake up physically bawling. And then another twin flame died, and still now 17 years later, I will dream with him for a little while, and then I'll be like, oh, why haven't we seen each other? And then I'll be like, oh yeah, you're dead. And then I'll wake up.
Wow.
So I don't know that I'm not that great at that, where I can talk to them all day in meditation and channeling. So
wow. Well, I know for me, I think the most memorable dream that I had was with my mother, my biological mother, who for many, many, many years, I had a very estranged relationship with. We really didn't talk that much. I mean, she suffered from a mental illness for a very, very, I mean, most of her life since I was a little boy. And she passed in 2006. And then later in my life, I had this dream about her visiting me. And the visit was her telling me that she was sorry for the pain that that I had with her over the years, and that this had more to do with her mental illness than it had to do with me. And she wanted me to know that, and that, you know, that don't blame yourself, as well as is that she said that she was healthy, whole, and happy. And that she would always be here, and that if I ever needed to talk to her from this space where she could be the mother, because she said that she could be the mother that she always wanted to be now. And that I woke up with tears, just crying and that kind of thing, because I think dreams are healing. I think that those dreams are healing.
And you see the whole spirit. You don't see
man.
Spirit in this realm, you know?
Absolutely.
The whole spirit, yes.
Absolutely. Loving this conversation. Remember, everyone, listen, get in on this. Let us know what your thoughts are about, like, some of the dreams that you've had in your life. You know, if you've actually talked to loved ones from the other side of the veil, just let us know. You know, this is a safe space. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how dreams can help us navigate our lives. I mean, we talked about some lucid dreaming earlier. I think, Sheila, you've got a couple of things that you wanted to talk about around this. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in 2 minutes with more of This Morning with Soulivity, real conversations that empower. Hey there, this is Brian with Soulivity.com. I want to share some exciting news about our new Aspire Academy by Soulivity. Now, you probably want to know what the Aspire Academy by Soulivity is. Well, it exclusively connects you with people around the globe and who share the intense desire to improve themselves and create a better life for themselves today. There's classes, there's workshops, there's live events, and even more exclusively just for you. You see, I wanted you to have a safe space where you could grow, you can learn, and it would empower you in all aspects of your life, including your mind, your body, and your soul. So how do you get started? Well, it is so easy. First of all, the best part, joining Aspire Academy is absolutely free. Just click on the Join Now button, sign up, and begin your journey. As a special part of this invitation to you, there are some free courses that are available for you to try from our amazing roster of coaches and collaborators. It's our way of saying thank you for all of your support and being with us along our journey of expansion.
I hope you enjoyed the Aspire Academy by Soulivity today. Start the process. Learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to live a higher quality life.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity with my co-host, D'Angelo Thompson and Sheila Applegate. This is Brian Wesley Johnson, and we are talking about our dreams. And, we've talked about a whole bunch of different things, but I wanted to kind of turn into something that I think the three of us kind of practice on a regular basis, and that is using our dreams to help navigate our lives. There's this myth, again, out of this story from Therapeutic that says dreams don't mean much. That's why they often don't make sense. That's a myth, y'all. There's a great quote out here. They say you're in your kitchen making a sandwich when Chewbacca walks in with balloon animals, and then you both start singing Sinatra tunes, and it turns out Chewbacca is actually your Aunt Helen. Yes, dreams can seem like total nonsense, but they also can reveal things about you and your life. So, why do we think this happens? What's the importance of dreaming and supporting us in having a better life, I would say. Sheila, what do you think?
Well, on the technical side of it, like I mentioned before, you're moving into REM sleep. So as a trauma release technique that I know is EMDR, eye movement desensitization rehabilitation, and it actually replicates REM sleep to process trauma. And I'm telling you that because when we experiencing something traumatic or difficult in our lives, it'll go into our short-term memory. It imprints on our short-term memory. If we don't transfer it, our brain then transfers it to another file, just like a computer, which is in our long-term memory. And that's done during REM sleep or processing. And without that connection, then that's where traumas occur, because then every time you meet a similar stimuli or situation, your brain will react as if the first trauma is happening again. And so from that perspective, from a mental health perspective, it's very important. And then, from the soul perspective, it's stepping beyond your limitations of your linear thinking to explore the possibilities.
Dee, what are you thinking about this? What are your thoughts?
As I was listening, as a student of psychology, you oftentimes when you talk to therapists, they want you to write out your dreams. You want to know what your subconscious mind or unconscious mind is thinking or experiencing, and they can tie it into your everyday reality, right? So there is a connection between the unconscious, of course, and the conscious mind. So dreams are very important in figuring it out, and how to move forward. So yes.
We were talking offline about lucid dreaming, and there was a great study that we were introduced to, again, from the Institute of Noetic Science. Hey, y'all out in California, on lucid dreaming and its effects on people who suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome. And they picked something like, I'm trying to think if it was like 20 or 30 former and active military personnel who were suffering from PTSD from traumas that they occurred during the wars. I mean, we've been in the longest series of wars ever since World War II, right? Where, literally over a decade and a half of war. And so what they did was they had people first learn how to do lucid dreaming, which is basically you learn how to dream, but control the dream within the dream, right? And most people who had PTSD, these soldiers had reoccurring trauma. So Sheila, what you were talking about before, which is this stimuli that
Right.
comes up in a dream, and then they suffer that trauma all over again, and it's happening almost every single day, right? Every single night they're going through
Mhm.
this over and over and over again. Why it's so critical. And so when they learned lucid dreaming, they learned how to not only see this dream, but to change it and to turn it into something that is either more pleasurable or more manageable. Like this one woman dreamt every single night that she was in the middle of the ocean and this huge tsunami would come and just come on top of her and
Mm,
she would drown.
wow.
So can you imagine dreaming that every single
Mhm.
day?
Hmm.
Right.
Where after she learned how to do lucid dreaming, she was in the ocean, she'd see the wave coming up, and then she literally took control of the dream. She put these floaties all over her body, and she was able to float and go up on top of the dream. And then she literally surfed the wave all the way to the shore.
Mm, mm.
She
Nice.
never had that dream again. She never had the dream again.
Mhm.
She never had that
So,
traumatic dream again.
wow.
It was
Let's
done.
analyze that. Let's
Yeah,
analyze because
yeah.
the dream was really telling her all that time, take control of your life.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Right. Right.
So, and she did.
And so
Yeah.
she did.
Yeah.
And the information that they got out of this was that more than half of the people who did lucid dreaming, because they have to do the 2 control groups, right? The
Mhm.
people who did lucid dreaming, almost all of them had some relief on some level, most of it averaging around 30 to 40% decrease, a decretion in in trauma, but a lot of them had a lot more than that from it. So I thought that that was pretty amazing,
Mhm.
around that. And again, I think
That
D'Angelo, I
is.
think you're right. I think you're right. I think a lot of times our dreams are about us telling, from a spiritual standpoint, dreams telling us that we need to control our lives. Listen, we're going to take a quick break.
Mhm.
We'll come back and we'll talk about this on the other side.
Okay.
6 years ago, when I started Soulivity, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit Soulivity.com now.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity. D'Angelo, you had something that you wanted to say about this.
In regards to which part?
Like, in terms of dreaming, we were talking about dreaming and the fact that I think a lot of times our dreams are telling us that our lives are ours to control.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that this is not a happenstance, right? Things that are happening in our lives are happening because we're attracting that to us,
Mhm.
and that attraction is something that we can change our perception, we can change our lives about how we think, and then that changes our perception, which attracts something different. And I think our dreams are telling us that in some way, shape, or form.
From a metaphysical level, many say that God is talking to you or your angels are talking to you
Right.
to guide you in your subconscious mind. And then
Right.
hopefully when you awake, you go, oh yeah, that dream, that meant something. How can I activate this in my conscious life?
Right. Right.
Also, on another level, on a psychological level, it could be dealing with mental health or like PTSD, which we talked about, where you're reliving, if you're in a war, you're reliving that experience over and over again. It is yet another sign from the unconscious mind that you need help. So by taking action and seeking help, you can work through that, hopefully. And there's so many alternatives now with PTSD. through the dreaming process, but also outside of it using alternative methods. And we can talk about that another time, like mushrooms. We'll talk about
that. And so I wanted to end, of course, we always want to kind of end this with some tips for people about, how do we learn to specifically remember our dreams? Because I think that when we remember what our dreams are, that becomes another tool in our tool belt to help us not only understand our life, but also understand how we can navigate through it with better, And so, Sheila, what are some of the, I mean, again, I know you have clients and that you take through different, processes and that kind of thing. What do you tell them about their dreams in terms of like, first of all, how do they dream? And then how do they remember to dream?
I think starting with intention when you go to sleep, being conscious, there's really basic things like keeping blue light, your phone, TV out of your area when you're sleeping will get you into a deeper sleep. And then making an intention or calming yourself before you head to bed so that you're not just recycling the stress of the day, because then that's where your dreams could lead. But making an intention maybe of a dream that you want to have, or even if you don't do that, when you wake up, this is the space that I really speak to people about, is to catch yourself as soon as you're waking up. And I say to do this even if you wake up multiple times during the night. So like I'm a roller, I am always having to adjust myself. And
you're a roller.
I'm a roller. I gotta move. So I take that second when I'm half awake, because you have to be a little bit awake to roll over. And you don't want to wake yourself up completely, but I just notice, I think of, what did I just dream? And if it's important, I go over it a few times. Before I fall back to sleep. And if I want to go into it again or not, I make that decision before I fall back during those times in between. Same thing goes when you wake up. If you take that moment in between sleep and wake, and I say feel into the emotion, like what are you feeling before you start to think of what did you just dream, like the chronological order of it. So I lean into the feeling and I stay in that feeling. Then I let that feeling lead me back to the story. And I go over it in my head a few times and then think of it as if I was telling someone else. I have had a journal next to my bed. I don't right now, but that's a good thing too, to just do the journal without picking up your phone, without crossing through a door. Because if you pick up your phone or cross through a door, the memories disappear.
Right. Dee, what about you? What are some of the things that you tell people?
Two things. Really using the Silva method really helps me personally, and I have suggested it to a lot of people lately, even clients that are using it. And it's a form of self-hypnosis where you're counting backwards. But when you get to one, you start to clear the board, if you will. And then once you work out some things that you may be thinking about, and then you move out of that, and then before you know it, you're deep in a deep sleep. And then another way is in the mornings, I'm all about gratitude and writing down things you're grateful for, and just jotting down, even if the dream is there, I'm grateful for that dream about my grandmother. I'm grateful for the words that she spoke to me, and write out those words. So there's many ways to keep a memory activated, and also hopefully in your conscious life, you can use it to move forward.
Absolutely. I'll share a couple of things that I do on a regular basis to maintain a good sleep regimen, but also dream regimen. First and foremost, and Sheila, you kind of talked about this before. I'll just add on to like, okay, if you have a TV in your room, turn it off long before you want to go to sleep.
True.
If you're busy life and you have your phone, put your phone down and don't even touch it long before you want to go to sleep. And don't grab it during the night, because again, that will wake you up. Make sure that you have a regular regimen of when you're going to go to sleep. Not like, okay, I want to be in bed by 9. Okay, that's one thing. But if you want to be to sleep by 9, then you need to be in bed before then. And let that space be sacred. So if for those of you who may suffer from like insomnia sometimes, or you get these active states where spirit or your soul is kind of speaking to you, that's okay to get up out of bed and journal, right? And I think writing with pen and paper is much better than typing on a computer or on your phone.
Right.
Those devices can stimulate your brain in a way, will actually wake you up. I think when you're writing, because I find this sometimes where I'll get led and I'll have this message that's like kind of pushing through, and I'll have to go journal. And once I journal it, I get sleepy and I go back to sleep. I go back to the bedroom and go back to sleep. Like the universe is saying, okay, you're done. That's what I wanted you to do tonight, so you can remember it in the morning. Couple of things out of a book called Dream Working by Dr. Christopher Newton. He talks about, things like incubating a dream, which is, a particular kind of intention that involves asking for a dream that will shed light on a particular concern. So you can ask questions before you go to sleep. Like, I really want to know about this. Help me figure out this. And sometimes what happens is that you'll go to sleep. You won't remember the dream, but when you wake up the next morning, an idea will come and will be the answer to the question that you had the day before. They also talk about reading a good book about dreams before bed. And they said that this will stir dream imagination and get things moving surprisingly often. So a couple of different things that you can do. One more last thing that I thought was really cool, I think that you both would like, is ask for the next installment of an old dream.
Oh, wow.
How about that?
Yeah.
I like
right. So if you had a dream that ended and you're like, okay, this was important for me to know about, but you're unclear in terms of, okay, what's the next step? Then ask for the next step. Ask for the next installment of that dream, and it will typically come to you. So really cool tips. Really cool tips.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Again, you guys are so wonderful when it comes to like this kind of stuff. You guys are so knowledgeable. I need to read more.
Takes more than reading. It's doing.
We're talking about it. We're sharing.
Anyway, listen, we're gonna take another quick break, and when we come back, I'm gonna get some final thoughts from both of you on all of this, everything that we kind of talked about today. Because I think, again, this is an important topic that I think we don't talk about enough. And I'm glad we're talking about it here on This Morning. So we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Hi there, Sheila Applegate here with some exciting news. I've joined the incredible Soulivity team as the host of the new Consciously Awesome live show, where I will be sharing insights to help you discover your full brilliance and claim the vibrant life you deserve. So tune in every Wednesday right here on Soulivity TV to join the fun, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
And we're back with more of This Morning with Soulivity, and I'm going to go to Sheila for some final thoughts.
Mhm.
I'm just thinking that if you've been listening today and you're inspired to practice some of these dream techniques, that's awesome. And I hope it goes really well. If you've been trying and it feels like a struggle and it's just making you more stressed, know that you can reach the same access through meditations and hypnotherapy and other techniques. So, it's not only for dreaming. Do what is natural for you.
Right. Thank you for that. D'Angelo?
I'll second that, Sheila. Just know you have to do what's right for you. And not everyone remembers their dreams, and not everyone dreams. Did you know that?
Right.
So it's just about your own personal journey. And I think this is what life is about, right? Our soul is about our own journey. So enjoy it.
Thank you for that, D. I think what I'll say about dreaming is I think the most important point that I think we're trying to make through today's topic is that you're not alone,
Mm.
and there are other dimensions of even yourself that you can tap into
Mm-hmm.
that will guide you through whatever you may be going through.
Mm-hmm.
Even things that are positive that are happening, that sometimes we figure out that, oh well, this is great, but when does this train end? And so
Mm-hmm.
you can ask the question about what's the next step. This is fantastic, thank you so much, and what am I supposed to do now? And sometimes the answer is just be with this, right? Enjoy
Mhm.
the journey, and then other things might give you more of a direction, but you're not alone. There's a higher power that's within you, and that can help you navigate your life practically, progressively, and because life, I really believe this, life is meant to be good, and part of getting to that point at which you come into that awareness is understanding that there are other ways for you to be aware of how to live your life outside of just your intellect. And so I
Right.
think that's what I
Mhm.
would want to say about that. While we have some time, again, great show today, man. We need to revisit this one. Maybe we can have. There's a dream expert um, on this that I would love to bring in from Ions. Maybe I can get
Yeah.
him
That'd be
on
great.
with
Yeah, that would
with
be
us.
awesome.
Yeah, and we can talk about this a little bit deeper. But with that being said, D'Angelo, you always have stuff going on. What's happening that you want to tell people about on the program?
Well, I'll say that I gifted to you guys 27 cards around gratitude from my book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brian will share that with you guys. And on the 10th, we will have a new show. Gratitude is a journey, finally, right?
Woo woo.
Terrence Kill from UCLA, and we'll discuss some research he's been working on around the penal system in California. So, yes, lots to talk about.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Sheila, what's going on in your world?
Well, we're in March now, so on the 8th of March, I will be doing the Matrix of Illumination on Aspire with Soulivity, and I take you through a guided meditation, and we do a live channeling. not dreaming, but awake channel. So you can join us there through Aspire. And then I also have a discount for all of you listeners through Soulivity, and that's for a soul connection session. So if you want to kind of navigate what we discussed about dreams, but in that conscious meditative state, or have me communicate with your loved ones for you, you can check out those sessions and the discount.
Fantastic. And as I just was saying, we got another Consciously Awesome Living coming up today at 12 noon. So check that out right here on Soulivity TV. You guys are always doing really cool stuff. You know,
we're just cool people.
Well, let's do this again next week, okay?
All right.
Yes,
I
Josh.
think that's a
Wednesday,
good idea.
we'll get together again.
Yeah.
Listen, everyone, we want to remind you that this is actually the first day of Women's Month. Yeah, it's March and Women's Month, International Women's Month. We're going to be doing, I'm going to try to promote here on this platform and other platforms, supporting the construction and development of the new National Women's History Museum, which is actually going to be, I think it's like right on the mall. I think this is going to be another one that's going to be on the mall here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, if you guys could see the construction here, they actually have a tarp around it with all these famous figures, women figures of both old and new. So it's going to be marvelous. And so look for that promotion, everybody, here, where we'll, get, help you support this fabulous institution. Listen, please also follow us on social media, and follow us on our website, so you can find out more information about exclusive content and even giveaways, which will be really cool. And on behalf of all of us, I just want to say thank you for joining us for this.
Thank you.
Yeah, for this a great episode of This Morning with Soulivity. We hope that you come back and join us every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern for our live broadcast, or listen to us every Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific on KMET 1490 AM, an ABC affiliate, for all of you out on the West Coast. Until next time, keep having real conversations that empower, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.